we have two things going on. The first part, we have a guest speaker. That's not necessarily a guest speaker because you guys really know him. And he's connected to Wood and two capacities. One is a coach and one is a teacher. And he is so good and he's been so great while at Wood as far as connecting with the students, the senior students. But this morning we have Mr. Chris Watson to come to spend a few minutes with you. How many of you know Coach Watson? Awesome. All right. Some of you guys know him well during the off season. But in the classroom, economics and U.S. history, Mr. Watson has been here 6 years? 5 years. All right, 5 years. But he's been totally involved with Mckinney Boyd and Coach Watson. We're looking forward to see what you have to share with us. So if you would, give a warm welcome to Coach Watson.
Thank you. I'd like to first say thank you so much, administration, to have faith in me to talk. It's a real privilege to speak to you today. So let's go over a couple of ground rules. The first one is I want you to pull your phone out. I put all of my social media stuff up here because well, yeah, it'll improve how many followers I have, but more importantly, we're actually going to use this today. You're going to be able to snap a few things out, maybe shoot some stuff on Instagram and Twitter. If you don't want to participate, you don't have to participate, but I'm going to give you about 1.5 minutes to 2 minutes to follow me, connect with me on there, and we're going to have some activities today where you actually get to use your phone. That'll be the first ground rule, so I'm going to give you 1 minute to go ahead and do that, and I'll count off that minute. Go ahead. You can see I'm following no one, so I'm not going to follow you back. Starting. All right, about 15 seconds. We'll bring it back in. All right, here we go. So here's the other ground rules. I'm talking to a senior about 3 weeks ago, and I don't know if he's in the house. I'm not going to call him out, but we had a good conversation. And I was just kind of asking him, like, when coaches talk about mentality, when speakers like this try and talk to you about your life, does it really connect with people? No. Okay? So, like, what happens is what he explained to me is he said, basically, Coach, the people that are willing to get in their feelings, his words, are the people that actually gain something from these talks. So it's kind of one of the ground rules. If you want to gain anything from today, you're going to have to be emotionally mature. And that's the tough part. Are you emotionally mature enough to allow somebody to speak to your life? Now here's the fact, Mr. Brandico said, how many of you know me? And there's a few in here that know me, but some of you don't. There's a great quote that I live by. It's from Zig Ziglar. And he said, people don't care what you know until they know that you care. Now some of you, we have a relationship. I've met you, I've talked to you, you know that I care about you. Some of the others are like, man, who is this guy? Why is he talking into my life? You don't know me. Here's the only thing I can tell you, and I promise you. I put a lot of sweat equity into this presentation. Spent a lot of countless hours preparing it to make sure it touches your life. So all I can tell you is I can just guarantee you that I really, truly do care about your life. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here. Otherwise, I wouldn't be vulnerable today and speak about my personal life and some of the struggles and obstacles that I've kind of overcome. So that's kind of the first two ground rules of what we're going to cover today, okay? You can go to the next slide. So I love this. Once again, my good friend Zig Ziglar, it says, there's no elevator to success, you have to take the stairs. So that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about success. Here's the unfortunate thing, right? Success, the word success is overused. In our culture, there are so many definitions of what success is. There are advertisements out there telling you, hey, this is the quickest way to success, do this. Hey, if you want to be successful, you've got to have this. If you want people to think you're successful, you've got to wear this. You have to own this. So the word success is overused. Now what we're trying to establish today is, we're trying to establish what truly is the definition of success. You can go to the next slide. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some pictures up there, and this is an interactive moment. If you think that the picture is successful or what you would deem successful, all you're going to do is just cheer, clap, whatever you want to do. If you do not think it's successful based on your opinion, then you're going to boo. It's your one chance to boo me while I'm on stage, okay? So if you think it's unsuccessful, you're going to boo. So here's the first one, a degree from College. What do you think? All right. How about becoming a Chick-fil-A store manager? What do you think? How about being a professional athlete? You may not like AI, but you know he blew through all of his money already. Had to go play in China. What about a rapper? Boo that man. What about a business owner? President of the United States. I sure do love conflict. How about a police officer? How about a landscaper? So here's what I find interesting. And this is really the point of kind of going through those pictures, is that each person in here kind of has their own opinion of what successful looks like, or what success looks like. And the ironic thing was that you would hear some boos, and they would look to their peer to see if their peer was cheering, and then they would cheer. That's called mass communication. That's called, sometimes we don't have a definition of success for ourselves, so we have to look to our peer. Hey, that's not abnormal. At this point in your life, this is the most selfish years of your life. From the ages of 14 to 24, you are asked more questions that you answer the answer of I. So we ask you things like, where are you going to college? What are you going to do with your life? Where are you going to live? Are you going to live at home? Are you going to live in an apartment? How are you impacting the world? Maybe questions are asked you, are you going to stay with that person, boyfriend or girlfriend, when you go to college? Are you going to break up with that person? Is that person affecting the decision that you're making? So you're asked a lot of questions of what are you doing? And you have to answer with I. This is the most selfish time in your life. So I went out to, this is a great quote. It says, a tiger doesn't lose sleep over the opinion of sheep. So really you have to classify yourself, are you a tiger or sheep? That's what you have to ask yourself. So what I did was I went over to the Shops of Legacy, and I asked probably 15 people if I could film them, and you're going to have to be kind of quiet to hear their response because the wind was blowing, but I filmed them, and I just asked them questions like, what do you think success is? Because I was really trying to get an organic answer. And I will tell you, all the videos we watched today, I didn't coach anybody up. Whether you believe that or not, I really didn't. Because I wanted an organic answer. I wanted to know if what I was talking about was truth. If really our culture felt the way they felt about success, in my opinion. So we're going to go through a couple of videos. I think there's 3 of them. I'll talk a little bit after the videos. You can go to the first video here. So I'll tell you who this is before you hit play. So I get my hair cut at a place called The Boardroom, and she's the front clerk. She's 23 years old, and she is now the store manager. And so I asked her a couple questions. Let's hear what she has to say.
All right, so what do you think of when you hear the word success, or what does that mean to you?
Success to me means that it doesn't have anything to do with how much money you have, how big of a house you have, or the highest degree. To me, success means that you have a passion, you followed it, and it was your dream, and your dream became a reality. You did something to where it could change the world.
And do you consider yourself successful?
As of right now, I do not.
Why?
Because I do have dreams, and I haven't followed them till the end. It's something that I'm working towards.
So, the full version of her video, she kind of talked to that. She felt like Steve Jobs was successful and asked her why. And she said he built a $1 billion organization. And I find it kind of hypocritical because in her first statement, when we asked her about success, she said, yeah, it's not about money, it's not about wealth, it's not about any of that. And then you said, well, who do you think is successful? Oh, this multi-billionaire. So it's kind of hypocritical a little bit in the sense of what she said. Well, then I asked her at the end, I said, do you think you were successful? She said, no, not yet. She's 23 years old. She's a store manager of the boardroom salon. A lot of people would deem that as successful. I said, well, why not? She said, I'm not affecting lives the way I want to. And so I didn't have time to play a little video, but I asked her, I said, well, what's going to change? Her exact answer was, I don't know. Good question. Didn't have an answer for it. Because what is going to change in her life? She lives in an apartment. She's self-sufficient. She makes enough money to get by anything that she wants to buy. And so she's like, well, I don't really know why I would go back to college. I don't know why that I would do something different than what I'm doing now. All right, so the next video here, like I said, it's tough to see. You'll just have to listen in. Go ahead.
And what do you think about when you hear the word success?
I think about someone who has a family, a stable job, not in debt.
Do you consider yourself successful? Why or why not?
I would say I'm on my way. Not there yet, but I will be one day.
So this is a college student. She goes to UNT. And she was coming out of Starbucks, she was studying. I just asked her, those questions. She said, a family person, somebody has a stable family, married, kids, raising their kids appropriately. That's what success is. So I asked her, do you think you're successful? Going to college, UNT, I think she was pre-med. And she's like, no, not yet, but someday I will be. And so I asked her, what's going to change? What's really going to change? She's like, I don't know. I just kind of want to get to a place where I have enough money in the bank. And, I've got a nice house. And instead of just having an apartment, I want to have a home. I want to have a family. And so I think her perception's kind of off base where she's a college kid. She's pursuing what she wants. This is a great story here. So I'm interviewing this guy. And I hear outside of my left ear as I'm holding up the phone to interview this guy. Yo, Coach Watson! Hey, yo, Coach Watson! Well, the only thing I saw was a mailman truck. And I don't know a mailman. So this dude's yelling at me. And I'm trying to figure out who he is. So I'll let you listen to his video and I'll kind of tell you who he was. Go ahead.
And then, do you consider yourself successful?
Yeah, I try to be successful every day, waking up, going to work, staying positive, being around positivity.
What about if people said what you do isn't very successful? What would you say to them?
I love it.
Thanks.
I'll tell you what he said. He said, I said, what if people said what you're doing in your life's not successful? And he said, well, all I've learned in my life is if you're going to run with wolves, they're going to teach you to hunt. And if you want to be with eagles, you got to learn how to fly. So that was a pretty good quote. This was a former student of mine from Duncanville High School. Before I was at Boyd, I was at Duncanville. This dude's named Cedric. We called him Cedric. And Cedric had an interesting life because he had a one-parent home. His mom worked full-time. He had to help raise his brother and sister. He was into drugs and alcohol. He was smoking a lot of days he would miss. He kind of would show up and talk about his life. I taught sociology then. And so anyways, he yells at me and is like, I didn't know if it was you, but man, there's something about that voice I couldn't get out of my head. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but he said, there's something about that voice I couldn't get out of my head. So we had a nice talk. We chatted it up. He's a full-time mailman now. And he's getting ready to go. And he wants to get into IT at the USPS. And so just for me, that was a touching thing because later I'll kind of reveal what I think success is for my life. And that's kind of a piece to it. So you go to the next slide. All right, so as you can see, there are tons of definitions of what success is. From your peers to the world, people that are in different professions, people that make money, people that aren't making money, people that have different careers. The hard part is how do we distinguish who we're going to listen to? What I find it interesting as a high school teacher is so often a 17 or 18-year-old chooses to listen to another 17 and 18-year-old about some of the most important advice in their life. I just find that interesting. As that person's trying to figure out their own issues in their life, they're asking them a question about, hey, what should I do with the rest of my life? And I think the key is that you've got to determine what success is for your life. You've got to figure out what that definition is. You can't have the same definition as your peer next to you. Just can't do it. Now, it might be similar, but at the end of the day, you live your own life. You know the great thing about advice? My dad used to always say, advice is free except to the person that actually does the action. So whether it be administrators, whether it be teachers, guidance counselors, or your parents, whoever it is, you've got to make a very clear decision in your head if that's the actions you want to take in your life. Because guess what? You have to suffer the consequences of those actions, whether they're positive or negative. I can give advice till I'm blue in the face, but at the end of the day, you're the one that has to go live that out. You're the one that's going to have to suffer those consequences if it's something you didn't want to do. You've got to go live in that town to go to that college. You've got to go major in those classes and take all those classes at 8 a.m. and put the time and the effort into. I don't. Now, you can't be successful if you're not vulnerable a little bit. Vulnerability is power. Say it again. Vulnerability is power. You know, most of my names on my handles and stuff are AKA counterculture, because this is counterculture what I'm talking about. Vulnerability is power. The world doesn't teach you that. The world teaches you to not be vulnerable. Don't be vulnerable because people are going to take advantage of you. Who agrees with that? Don't be vulnerable because people are going to take advantage of you. Raise them high, raise them proud. So I'd say it's 50-50. My guess is in those people's lives, they've seen somebody get taken advantage of because they were vulnerable. That person probably uses the words like, yeah, man, I'm self-made. Hear that a lot? I'm self-made, I don't need anybody. Vulnerability is power, because how can I speak into your life if I don't know your skills? If I don't know your aspirations, I don't know what you're going to do with your life. I had tons of kids ask me, hey, will you write me a letter of recommendation? And my first response is, well, I got to know more about your life. You got to remember, as teachers, we see you 45 minutes a day. And you know as well as I do, I can manipulate you in 45 minutes just like you can me. So what I would recommend is be very conscious of who you're getting your advice from, who you're getting that definition of success from. And number two, find those people you can be vulnerable with. So I went out and I reached out to about, 25 Mckinney Boyd alumni. And I asked them to send some videos in. And just said, can you just tell our young people like what your opinion is, or what your definition of success was when you were 17 and 18 versus maybe what your opinion is now? Now, why would I show that to you? Here's why. It has nothing to do with it better or you're worse. No, it has to do with the quicker in our lives, even at the age of 33, the point at which I can figure out what I want to do with the rest of my life sooner just gives me such an advantage on everyone else, because everyone else is trying to figure it out. So if today you can figure out what you want to do with your life, today you can figure out what your definition of success is today, you're already ahead of all of these people. Because they're going to tell you they didn't figure it out until they went to college. And so I'm almost like confirming what they're saying. You're hearing it from two mediums. Maybe you trust them more than me, I don't know. So we're going to take you through a couple of these people. We're going to watch the videos. Go ahead.
Class of 2017, what's up guys? My name is Dedrick Scribbins, and I don't know if a lot of you remember me, but I actually went to high school with you guys 2 years ago. I graduated with the class of 2015. Basically, my perception of success when I was you guys' ages, I thought success was fame. You know, I thought it was being known. I basically come to the conclusion that success for me is more of how I'm feeling about myself and how I'm accomplishing my little goals every day than it is of how the outside world is feeling about me or how the outside world perceives me to be.
So this is Dedrick Scribbins. A lot of you probably know him. And the honest truth is I had heard a lot of things about Dedrick and some of the football stuff going on, and I'd had him in class, and he showed up to FCA a couple times, and honestly, I don't really listen to a lot of the drama and the gossip. I just want to hear it from the horse's mouth. So I called Dedrick. I was like, hey man, let's meet up. Can you send a video? So we talked a little bit. And he just kind of told me about his journey. And some of you may know the story. And I won't share it all. But all I can tell you is that he had some Division I offers to play football, and that was his identity. His identity was, I want to be known. I want people to know me. I want to go play football somewhere, Division I school that people know. And so he goes to Oklahoma State, and he said, Coach, I was completely out of shape. He said, I was slow. He said, but I worked really hard. So he went and he worked really hard. Things didn't work out. He basically told me, his exact words were, I kind of felt worthless. I said, well, why? He said, because I had to come back to all these people that basically, in their eyes, I was only successful if I played football at some big university. That's sad. That's sad that he was allowing those people to speak in his life. So what I told him and what he told me was, we talked a little bit, he said, I decided that those really weren't my friends. Those really weren't people that wanted the best for my life. And I needed to find people that did. And so now he's kind of changed it up. He's got some goals. He knows what he wants to achieve. It sounds like he may have a good opportunity to go to Baylor and play football now. But regardless, I told him, I said, Dedrick, I said, you've got to quit allowing football to be your identity and allow yourself to be your identity and who you are and how you're achieving in life. And so, he said, yeah, I appreciate it, Coach, yada, yada, yada. So this, you might be able to relate with this person a little bit more. This is Hannah Schling. She was in my class last year. Great student, extremely intelligent. I like some of the things she had to say as well. Go ahead.
I've learned that, and it's taken a long time, but I've learned that it's important to not let your failures steer you away from your goal. In fact, you should let them motivate you and steer you in the right direction.
So I just like the fact that she was willing to talk about failures, because a lot of us, when we fail, we don't want to tell anybody about it. You go to the next one? Go ahead.
I have learned that success is so many different things. And for me, this year, really trying to find myself spiritually, success is finding happiness. So whether it be from working harder in school and getting better grades and making your parents proud, and you're getting a job and helping my parents pay for college and living expenses, making them happy, or just finding the right people to be around that help me grow spiritually and help me become a better person. If I can do all those things, and I can strive to do those things with my best effort and knowing that I did it the right way, that's success to me.
Will you skip ahead to the next 10 videos, the same face? Keep going, keep going, keep going, and you can hold it there. So here's the thing, right? Like, I told my kids this all the time, I tell my soccer players all the time. Who here has goals in their life? Raise your hand. Raise your hand. You got a goal in your life, something, whatever it is. All right, so you all have goals. It's great, right? Would you say that's the easy part or the hard part? Go ahead. Hard. Yeah, that's the easy part. We all have goals. That's the easy part. It really is. And so when I hear Tim, I'm like, man, probably a lot of high school kids would say the same thing. Oh, it's about people that surround me. I want to accomplish my goals and be successful. The hard part is putting in the work to accomplish those goals. That's the hard part. And most of us don't have some type of action plan to help us with that. I can say, I want to be a multi-million-dollar speaker someday, or, I want to be a teacher of the year this year, or I can have those goals, but if I don't have some steps and tasks holding me accountable, it's probably not going to happen. It's probably not going to happen because I don't have any way to hold me accountable. Or if I don't have quality people surrounding me, it's probably not going to hold me accountable. And that's what Tim's going to talk about. Now, before he does, I forgot to mention that I know that the battle that's out there for you is that really what success is that the world talks about is the green. It's that money. It's that cash. No, I didn't rob a bank. Oh, it's real. Real big. So that, this is what the world's telling you, right? I mean, think about how lit up you just got. You're like, oh yeah, money. Look at that money. Yeah, let's get some. Give me that lettuce. I want some of that cheese. Hook a brother up, right? How excited it makes you when you see this. Woo! I get it. It's because you don't have any right now that you want some. I get it, So that's what the world tells us. That's what the world tells us is what we want. That's what success is. When you get wealth and riches and money, that's when you're successful. Let's hear Tim again.
I mean, just thinking back at my perspective on success from high school to now, it puts it sheds a lot of light on how my perspective has changed. It's changed so drastically, and it's changed for the better, I would say. And Coach Watson contributed so much with the impact he put on me towards the end of my high school career, and then he continues to put on in college now. Is just, he preaches it, but you are who you surround yourself with. If you hang out with garbage, you're going to smell like garbage.
So I don't show you that to build myself up, because I don't need that. I tell you that because I spent a lot of countless hours with Tim. Tim not only was a student here, he was one of my goalkeepers that I trained in soccer. So I spent countless hours of character development and motivating him. Here's what I'll say about Boswell that I absolutely loved. Tim deemed himself a first-team All-State backup goalkeeper. First-team All-State backup goalkeeper. In my opinion, he's one of the best backup goalkeepers that I've ever seen. And why I say that is because he always came to work to push that guy in front of him. He always came to work to push that guy in front of him. His definition of success wasn't becoming the starter, which he wanted to, but he knew he really didn't have a shot. He knew that. When we talked about it, he's like, yeah, I didn't have a shot, man. Davies was so much better than I was. So he made it his passion and his work to say, I'm going to push that guy, though. I'm going to make that guy better, because if I make that guy better, the whole team wins. So we're getting away from that isolationism, that individualism, that self-made mantra to let people in. Oh, look, there's bad people in the world. You know that. I know that. But you got to let some people in that want to make your life better. And so, you can go to the next slide. And so, show me your friends and I'll show you your future. So I'm only going to talk about this for just a little bit, but here's the point. Jim Rohn, he has a great quote. It says, you are the average of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. I'll say it one time. You are the average of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. All right, so I'm going to give you a minute and a half. This is what we're going to do. You ready? That's Snapchat or Twitter or Instagram. And I want you to take a picture with your friend. And we don't have time for you to get up, so hopefully you sat next to your friend. If you didn't, they're probably not your friend. So take a picture with them. And all I want you to do on there is I want you to write 2 things. Okay? I want you to write 2 things. So if Tristan's my friend, I'll write a great thing about him and why he's a great friend to me, and he's going to write a great thing of why I'm a friend to him. Does that make sense? Any questions? So you can snap it, Instagram, Twitter, whatever's your game, whatever you like. About 2 minutes, I'll bring you back in, ready to go. Excuse me? About 45 seconds left. 45 seconds. You can go to the next slide. $20 seconds. 20 seconds. Seconds, we'll bring it back in. 4, 3, 2, 1. Thank you, I appreciate it. Hopefully those are awesome and good. I will tell you, speaking of social media, I'm going to tweet out every single interview that I did, the full version. I did get a 6.5-minute version from one of your alumni, so you get an opportunity to listen to him. But I've got about 15 to 17. So I'll tweet them all out so that you can watch those if you want. If you don't, I understand. So why did I put this picture up? Well, I've talked about this in my class before, but this is what I believe. I believe life is a huge journey just like this. And you can't see the picture, not very good, but on some of those paths, there's actually people standing. And so there are people in our lives that literally are just guideposts. Hey, you need to go that way. Hey, you should go that way. Hey, is everything okay? Did you get hurt? Let me help you. Let me help you out right now. Yeah, keep going. I got to help the next guy out. And you're going to have friends in your life that essentially are in your life for a season. To be quite honest, I would say the majority of your friends next to you are going to be in your life for just this season. You're going to move on. Your life's going to change. Your definition of success is going to change. That person's definition of success is going to change, and you're going to move on. Now, I know in your mind you think, we're going to be friends forever. Maybe you're dating somebody right now and you think you're going to be together forever. Good luck. I hope it works out for you guys. I really do. I do. I really do. From the bottom of my heart, I hope it works out. But what I will tell you is just like success, your definition of love is going to change. It really is. Your definition of love is going to change from what it is in high school now to what it will be when you're 23 or 22 years old, or even when you go to college. So, on this journey of life, we have a lot of different people that are going to be there. Some will hop on the path with us, and they'll walk with us, encouraging us, loving us. We'll build a relationship on that path. Others may only walk for a certain amount of time and then say, hey, this is it for me. You're on by yourself, and you're on by yourself again until somebody else comes alongside you. Now, you know what's great? Or what I think's great? Is that I get my wife to walk alongside me the rest of my life. No, all I needed was my best friend. And so depending on what your opinion is of those relationships, that's the truth, is at least you get one person to walk alongside you the rest of your life. And it may be a close friend, it may be a parent, it may be a grandparent, whatever it is. So I just want to make sure you understand that that's the journey. Now, I'm going to show you some videos of some of my friends and what they had to say. And it's organic, like I said. This is an athletic director. He's about 3 years younger than me. He was a freshman, I was a senior. And go.
I am an athletic director. When I think about defining success, and when I think about evaluating, have I been successful? My first thought is not my job title. It's not what the paycheck looks like every month. It's not what is my family status. When I think about evaluating success, I think about the culture that we are creating in our athletic department, and I think about the culture that we're creating in our family at home. The culture that we are trying to create is a culture of liberation. I really want our coaching staff and our student athletes to feel empowered. I want that culture to be deeply rooted in trust and integrity and free from manipulation, fear, and apathy. And I think if that's the culture that we create, the characteristics that flow out of that culture, man, those will be characteristics that we can stand behind and we can evaluate and go, man, we've been successful.
Man, what's great is that just listen to that video challenged me. Being a part of the Mckinney boys soccer program, that's what I want for my coaches and my players. I want there to be a liberation. I want them to feel like that when they step on the field, they're 100% prepared and they can just do work. For the sake of time, we'll skip the next two videos. I'll tell you about these people, though. This gentleman is the vice president of sales. He builds skate parks. I've known him about 18 years now. You can go next. This guy I've known since I was 3 years old. You can see he lives in Hollywood. The Hollywood sign's on his right shoulder. He doesn't really like California, but that's where he lives. And he works for BuzzFeed. Anyone ever heard of BuzzFeed? So his job is to determine what videos go out, because their number one goal is, how do we get 1 million views? That's their number one goal. Go ahead. This is a guy that I formerly worked, and I'm going to get into it a little bit, but I formerly worked at a couple Fortune 500 sales jobs, and I worked with this guy, actually. And so he has some really quality things to say, but for the sake of time, we're going to move on. Go ahead. Fantastic. All right, so here's the third piece. So let's kind of cover the first two. So the first one was, there's tons of definitions of success. You got to determine on your own. Okay? Now, if you've already fallen asleep or you've kind of like checked out, this is the time I would come back. Because this is probably, in my opinion, probably the most impactful, honestly. The other stuff, you'd be like, yeah, I've heard it before. I watched a YouTube video about motivation. Somebody showed me something one time on the first day of school. Thanks a lot. Heard it before. Check out. Now's the time you bring it back in. It's like when you go to church and the pastor says, if you hear nothing else, this is the one thing I want you to hear. That's what this is. That's what this moment is, okay? So, you can't see the picture on the bottom, but what it is it's a young woman looking into a mirror. And so when you look in the mirror, what do you see? Yes, yourself. I love the picture on the right there of a young kid there basically looking into himself. I find it very, interesting to say the least. But here's the key, you ready? If you want to be successful in whatever you want to do in your life, you've got to insert self-reflection. You've got to insert self-reflection. And so the question is that how? How do I do that? Well, there's a lot of noise in our culture. There's time sucks, that's what I call them. That's your apps, that's your headphones. And I get it, I get it, man. Things are noisy and you want to be introverted, you want to hold in and everything. But what I find so sad in the school sometimes is that people have headphones on and they're not even playing music. They're working so hard to not talk to people, they got headphones on just to fool you, just to manipulate you, thinking they're listening to music. That's crazy. That's crazy in our society. So here's what I'm challenging you to do. 10 minutes a day. 10 minutes a day to find quietness. And the only noise you're going to hear is self-talk and your own brain. And that's hard. Hey, I've been in my class tried 1 minute, and that's hard. Some of you have been watching, you couldn't be quiet for 32 seconds. You're sitting next to your friend and talking to them the whole time. So, self-reflection. So I promise you that this piece is going to be the most important for the rest of your life. Because how do you know if you're successful if you're not self-reflecting on what you're doing? How do you know? It's why athletes watch film. They're self-reflecting on what they're doing. It's why I'm going to watch these 2 videos later to see what I said. Was it any good? People liked it. Maybe not. I hope so. So, move on. So I'm going to tell you about my picture of success. And I'm short on time, but I'm going to get through it, okay? So, you can go to the next slide. That's a good jumping off point. So I'm getting ready to give you some time. I'm going to give you about 3 minutes. And I want you to use that time to write down 3 statements that maybe this speech has kind of prompted in your head. You can use that time however you want. Some of you will go check, snaps. Some of you will not use the time appropriately. And that's okay. I mean, you can do that. Like I said at the beginning, the ground rules are you emotionally mature to handle this? Most people, when you start to convict them and speak into their lives, the very first thing they do is to find some noise to ignore what you're saying. Because they don't want to hear the truth. The truth is hard. The truth hurts. And what most people do is when they hear the truth from one person, they don't like it, what do? They find another person that might tell them what they want to hear. That's what we do. That's the great thing about social media, right? Anywhere on social media, there's some idiot that's posting something that you like and you agree with, and so you retweet and you favorite. And all that does is feed the animals that he does it again, or she does it again. And so, I'm going to give you some time to do this. Will you go forward 1 slide, and then we'll go back 1 slide? I know that's weird. Alright, so this is my family. So, that's my 6-month-old son. And, it's been a big change in my life, but that's my lovely wife. And we went to the pumpkin patch this last weekend. I've never been to a pumpkin patch, but I'm not really sure pumpkin pie at a pumpkin patch. It makes no sense. Like, there's pumpkins everywhere, but I couldn't find a piece of pumpkin pie. Like, I don't know, it just blew my mind. I was like, you guys got pumpkin pie? Dude's like, nah, man, we got pumpkins, though. It's like, that doesn't help me. Like, pumpkin pie. So, we went to the Coldplay concert there. That was a good time. But my definition of success has kind of changed a little bit. You can go to the next one. And this is my definition of success. It says, I want to positively influence as many lives as possible while thriving as a husband and a father and a friend. Now, why did I distinguish? Let me tell you why. I've met a lot of people that influence a lot of lives, but then those areas of their life suffer. And not only that, but you notice I didn't put down, I want to win a bunch of soccer games or I want to win state. I didn't. I didn't put down that, I want to have a, 100% passing rate on STAR as much as administration wants, and I want that. I didn't put it down in my goals. I didn't put all those things down. I didn't even put how big of a bank account that I want, because, let's be honest, I don't know how you feel, but for me, I can get hit by a bus tomorrow, and it doesn't matter how much green I got, it won't matter. And let me tell you why it changed. Here's why it changed. You ready? So this is a very special day for me because my dad died 8 years ago to the day today. And I know he's here in the audience. He's listening. I just know that. But it was a real eye-opener for me because when my dad passed, he was kind of the guy that was able to speak into my life and hold me accountable for what that definition of success was. So I made the definition, and then he said, all right, hey, you know what? I'm going to hold you accountable to that. You said your definition was fill in the blank. You said your definition was to be a manager someday at that sales team. What are you doing to do that? Are you working extra hours? You said your goal someday was to have $1 million in the bank. Are you being financially secure? Are you being intelligent with your finances? You said you wanted to be a man of God. You said you wanted to be a great father. You said you wanted to be an excellent husband. Well, what are you doing in your life to do those things? So when he passed, I had to replace that. I had to replace that with people in my life. And that would be my challenge for you. Do you have friends in your life that are making you the best version of yourself? And I got my kids in my class. We get a chance to talk. And, some of them are great kids. And I just kind of ask them about their friends. And, a lot of them are like, man, coach, I'm trying to help out my friends. You know, they all do a lot of drugs and they drink a lot. And, you know, I know you've heard it many times, so I'm not going to harp on you about that. It's illegal. That's the point. And you know what I find interesting, though? I've never heard of a place called Success Rehab. Heard of alcohol rehab? Heard of drug rehab? I've never heard anybody like, I'm sorry, you've had too much success, you got to go to rehab. Never heard that before. So if you surround yourself with people that are successful or want to be successful, or they want to help you achieve your goals as much as they want to achieve their goals because they have your best interest in mind, then you're going to reach great heights. Remember what it says, show me your friends, I'll show you your future. So some of you may need to make some really difficult decisions today about those friends that are holding you back from being the best version of yourself. Hey, those are tough conversations, I get it. But guess what? Guess what? In about 6 months, it won't matter because you're not going to see that person anymore either. You don't have to have them in your life anymore. That's the honest truth. That's the honest truth. For some of you, that's a blessing. Some of you, that's a curse. I don't know. But so this is my definition. This is what I want to do. I want to influence as many people as possible. Because after my dad died, 4 months later, my aunt died. She died of a meth overdose. I'm originally from Joplin, Missouri. They call us the meth capital of the world. We have tons of houses that blow up with meth. And a lot of people die. It's very tragic. But my aunt, she died of a meth overdose. Here was the saddest thing. She dies of an overdose. I don't know if you know what happens if people don't really want to have a funeral, but basically the city takes your body and then they cremate you. And then they call the family and say, hey, we have the ashes. Would you like to have a funeral? Well, we were like, why? No one's going to show up. So for me, at the age of 22, I was like, wow. Because, you know, like when people die, I mean, they didn't think about funerals and stuff. When people pass, we elevate them to the greatest place on earth, right? The greatest person on earth. They have no faults. And so no one could do that for my aunt. And that was a changing point in my life. And I'll tell you why. Because what I realized is this. When I die, and there's a tombstone, it is not going to say the greatest coach in the world. It's just not. He had X amount of wins. It's not going to say it. It's not going to say bank account status was this. It's not going to say it. What I want it to say, and what I hope it says is beloved father, loving son, caring husband. Because those are the things that matter to me. You can go to the next slide. So, I'm going to wrap it up. I love this picture because sometimes, no, all the time, people can paint whatever picture they want on social media for you to determine success, right? They can. You guys can do it. You can fake people out. In my world, social media is like this place of notorious envy. I want you to envy my life. So I'm going to post the concert I went to that you couldn't go. I'm going to post the new whatever that I bought that you can't afford. I'm going to post the awesome trip that I went on that you didn't get to go. Ha ha, envy me. That's really what it is. It's a world of envy. There was an artist out there, and she's a photographer, and what she did was she faked her entire family and like 10,000 followers into believing that she was in Thailand for 2 weeks. And all she did was hire a professional photographer. She took all the pictures in her home, and she took all the pictures in the swimming pool. And then they photoshopped like tropical fish and coral, and photoshopped her being like a Buddhist temple, and some other stuff, and she faked them all out. And the point is that you can paint whatever picture that you want in your life, but at the end of the day, you've got to look in the mirror and self-reflect to say, is that really who I am? And what's sad is that so many people in this world, they use social media to almost feed their insecurity. I'm so insecure that I post something on social media. Please like it. Please follow. Please screenshot. Because if you do, I feel so much better about myself. There's 1 or 2 people out there that like what I said. That's a shame. That's such a shame. Because you can paint whatever picture you want. Paint whatever picture you want of your life. But at the end of the day, you've got to self-reflect and really look at, am I achieving what I want? All I'm trying to do is curve the learning curve. I'm trying to curve that for you so you can reach quicker, higher heights. So what I love about success is you don't get to see everything under the iceberg, right? You get to see the tip. So whatever rapper we want to talk about that multi-platinum, money, Mr. Champagne tells me that Kanye is the best. So when you look at a guy like Kanye, right? Like we didn't get to see all the sleepless nights of Kanye. We didn't get to see all the sweat equity. We didn't get to see the fights that he had with his close friends. We didn't get to see him maybe be a thief. We didn't get to see him be an innovator. We didn't get to see his all the risks that he took to even be where he was. All the rejections of people like, no, you're terrible. No, you're terrible. No, you're terrible. All those rejections that probably just made him better. If you check my Twitter out, I always post this thing every year about hateros. Eat a bowl or two a day and it makes you feel better. I do this for my haters. You probably heard the word haters, right? And so I believe that if you take those haters, they really will fuel you, but you don't see all that. All you see is the money, the riches, the fame. I'm going to close you with this. I appreciate your time and attentiveness. Most of you are pretty attentive. I appreciate that. Here's what I hope. I hope that when you walk away today, and I know we didn't get a chance to write down those 3 things. We got some other stuff to do, and I can talk for a lot longer, and I'm not going to. I hope you take time to self-reflect, and you build your own picture of what success is for your life, and not allow the person next to you to influence that unless they truly have their best interest in your mind. And maybe you need to seek out some people that you know have their best interest in mind, and ask them, hey, what do you think? What do you think my skills are? Who do you think I am? What can I do in my life to be successful? There was a recording that we didn't listen to. It was Patrick Fullerton, and he said, you know, I was a really smart guy. I was going to go into engineering. I was going to make a lot of money. But what I realized is that all that stuff didn't matter, and I didn't want to be a robot at my job. I wanted to do something I'm passionate about. I used to make a 6-figure salary, company car, stock options, all that stuff. And I quit that job to come be a teacher. And the reason why is because I wanted to be in a position to excel at my definition of success. So when you leave today, you've got to ask yourself, are people holding me back, or are they pushing me to my definition of success? And you got to determine it on your own and not allow culture to do that. So I appreciate your time, like I said, and I hope this was helpful. I'm in J109, so if you ever have a question, I'd sit down every single one of you. If you want to sit down and say, hey, here's what I'm skilled at. Can you help me build a plan for my goals and steps and tasks to be successful? Hey, man, I'll do it. I'll take my time to do that. So love you guys. I appreciate it, and good luck.
All right, most of you guys know Coach Watson through as far as athletics or as a teacher, but do know that he's genuine and he's for real. He mentioned his room number J109, so if you want to go by and visit with him sometime, it doesn't necessarily have to be this week, but sometime between now and before graduation, which will be June 2nd, he's available. If he's not, he'll make himself available to help out. So, Coach Watson, thank you so much. All right.